Now I'm talking about religion. So I'm asking, like, do you have any beliefs? What do you believe?
I mean, I'm mixed race. My dad believes in Christianity. My mum's doing. I'm Shinto. You might know it.
I've heard of it. I think it's Japanese.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've heard of it. That's nice. So you're saying is that you have two like ideas of religion.
Personally, I believe in Creator, but I don't believe in the God.
So you don't believe in the God, and why don't you believe that there is fundamentally a God?
I mean, I just don't believe in one fundamental God. No, I do believe in one fundamental God, but I don't believe that it's this specific one, like the God from Christianity or a God from, Allah.
So why don't you believe in the God from Christianity? Instinct. I mean, I could have the same response to why I don't believe in Shinto or why I don't believe in Islam, but that's not a good reason not to believe in something.
Yeah, but just living through experience, I guess.
I mean, so how much of the Christian text have you read to come to the conclusion that instinct is telling you the truth about Christianity?
Oh, I don't say instinct's the truth.
Okay, so if your instinct is not telling you the truth, then how do you know that fundamentally your instinct is right in that case?
Well, it might not be right.
It might not be right. Yeah. So what you're saying is you're happy not knowing whether something's right or not.
Well, there's nothing certain about this world, is it?
But that claim you just made, is that a certain claim or uncertain?
It's a very uncertain claim. I do believe in a creator, but it's not God.
So what you're telling me, bro, is that according to your own ideology, nothing can be certain, but the claim you just made is very uncertain, meaning that everything you just said is uncertain. I'm claiming that I have a certain God, that certain God created reality. So so logically, I have a more consistent ideology than you do.
Yeah, probably do, yeah.
That I don't know how you don't see that as a problem, my boy.
I mean,
I mean, I would say logically, if I went up to you and said, look, 1 + 1 = 2, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, I'll probably do, because that's based on facts and evidence,
But when it comes to evidence, right, when we say evidence and facts, 1 + 1 = 2, would that be the case if there was no humans on the earth?
No, because numbers are a social construct.
Numbers may be, but objects relating to other objects, like 1 and 2 are objects. So objects relating to other objects, there will still be trees on the earth, there will still be plants, so there will still be 2 plants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, so equally, even if there was no humans on earth, 1 + 1 would equal 2.
Yeah.
This is what we call transcendentals. Have you heard of them? Mathematics is a transcendental. It's something that exists outside of the mind. Ultimately, when we think of God, God exists outside of us.
Probably.
Yeah, there's no problem, it's just facts. Okay. Just like you just said, like based on quantifiable, testifiable claims, 1 + 1 = 2 because you've seen it.
Yeah.
But as I explained before, 1 + 1 = 2 will always be the case, even if there's trees here and nothing else.
Yeah, probably. So what was your point?
So my point is, in regards to consistent logical arguments, I'm claiming that Christianity makes more logical sense than what you've just proposed.
So Christianity makes more sense than me being uncertain about if it exists or not.
No, but you're not just claiming uncertainty, because there's no such thing as neutrality. You're not claiming you're uncertain. You've claimed to me that there's no way to be certain about anything, which is a claim of certainty.
I mean, are you familiar with physics?
Second?
Are you familiar with physics?
Oh no, I'm aware of physics. Trust me.
So have you ever heard of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so you can't be certain about the velocity and the displacement of a certain object. So, frankly, there's nothing certain about this. And I genuinely believe time is a social construct. So, because we exist, time exists. It's within our head.
Well, I mean, I would say fundamentally, even if we didn't exist, time would exist because things decay over time. There will still be plants, there will still be objects on the earth. Those things will decay over time, regardless of whether they exist or not. The idea of the analog clock displaying 12 minutes past 5, you may consider that a social construct, but that doesn't negate from my point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I get your point though.
My earlier point is, look, even if we relate to Heisenberg's idea of whatever, it's irrelevant to my point. Right. The fact is, fundamentally, there is a creator to this universe. There is something that grounds on morality. For example, morality. When we speak of what's good or evil, how do you know something's good or evil?
Oh, based on the education, wouldn't it?
What education? What, the education in Saudi Arabia where it's okay to marry a 9-year-old girl, or the education in this country?
That's why over there that's a justice.
I mean, yeah, like they could say, look, I believe that's fine. I can have sex with this 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, that's probably what they think. But over here, we got educated in a different way. So there's a different social construct.
Yeah, but the fact that there are different social constructs means there is no fundamental way to consider whether something's good or wrong. So if you were to go to Saudi Arabia, you can't say to their people, look, that it's wrong for you to have sex with a 9-year-old girl.
Exactly.
You can't. I would say my theology is consistent because in the Christian religion, children are made in the image of God. And Christ says anybody who harms one of his little ones will be better than a millstone will hang around his neck and he was dragged into the sea.
I see.
So my worldview more accounts for morality than yours does. Yours tells us that we're free to do whatever we want and it doesn't really have any consequences and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, probably. That's what I think, yeah. You know, obviously
But mine's more consistent.
Consistent in which way?
It's consistent morally because if I, for example, and I know how to break you, it's easy. If I say a hypothetical, God forbid I would ever do this, by the way, but I was to break his house and have sex with your mother.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't say it's wrong.
Yeah?
You couldn't.
Yeah, probably not.
It wouldn't make any logical sense. Because why are you saying it's wrong?
I get you.
Yeah, I could say it's wrong because fundamentally, first of all, made in the image of God. Secondly, we're in a Christian world where God fundamentally judges all things. So if that same God judges all things, he'll condemn me, everybody else to hell. And these actions will be brought against us in due time.
Yeah.
So there's justice, there's morality in my worldview, but in your worldview, that's not consistent. What I'm trying to say, even as far as even child abuse, if I am to go to the extreme level, if I was to follow your ideology of, well, we can't know things for certain, then even child abuse would be acceptable in your ideology.
Well, I didn't say it's acceptable.
But what you're telling me is that it doesn't.
Of my
why
idea.
but why does it matter what you think or what you say?
Well, what's the point of life, wouldn't it?
But that's the point.
Exactly.
Ultimately, you're just proving my point. Ultimately, your worldview leads to nihilism. Nihilism is the ideology that what's the point of doing anything? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. There is no consequence to anything. Justice doesn't matter. So do what you want to do in this life. That's what nihilism is. And that's what agnosticism leads to. Now, what you've shown me is that you are an agnostic.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I never had a person.
You don't. But the thing is, you don't have to tell me because these are precepts. What you've just showed me are precepts of agnostic behaviour. So even if you don't, if you just sign and say, I'm not agnostic, doesn't matter. According to what you believe, you're agnostic.
Yeah. So it seems.
Yeah. What I would say to you is that in order to make sense of reality, it'll be honestly more logically consistent to you to become a Christian than to remain where you are.
It seems like you've got a good knowledge of Christianity and morality. So I've got a question. I wanted to ask my RS teacher, but she never answered me, so here you go.
That's fine.
Basically, obviously, in your belief that you'll get judged in the judgment day, or even when you die.
Yeah.
And God can give you forgiveness to go into the world of God, or go to the hell, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point of you going to the world of God?
So you're going to have to explain that a bit.
Why would you want to go to heaven?
Because ultimately in a Christian worldview, heaven is union with the God that created us. It's the very essence of life.
So your purpose of existence is you're united with the God.
Well, yeah, if you read the story of Adam and Eve, for example, the whole fall happened because we were disunited from God by deciding to choose to eat from good and evil, the tree of good and evil, rather than the tree of life. And these are symbolic trees, like the tree of life, think about it, life, and the tree of good and evil, the idea of perception of a world of good and evil. That's what we have now. So fundamentally, when we think about who God is and how he relates to us, God has created us to be in union with him. We were supposed to be a priesthood over this world, in fact. So think about your church. You said your father was a Christian. He's a Christian. So he would go to a church and you would see a priest. The priest is the one who he ordains bishops, but also he gives out sermons. He relays the message of God to humanity. We as humans were supposed to be that. We were supposed to be the thing that relates man to God. But we broke that promise by deciding to choose a world of good and evil. By doing so, we separate ourselves from God. And hell is essentially a separation from God. But also, hell is the reality you see now. Hell is your inconsistent reality where you can say, look, we can believe what we want, it doesn't matter. The problem is everything has consequences. If I was to live in your world, then killing children is not immoral. But in my world, it is. Now, my world is fundamentally consistent. Your world is.
Yeah, so it seems, yeah.
So, as Christ says, choose this day who you will serve. Maybe your dad's right, maybe it's wrong, but ultimately, if you decide, look, doesn't matter, we just believe what we want to believe, and that the world is what it is. I used to believe that, bro. I used to be an agnostic. The problem, the question I had was, how can I make sense of morality? How can I make sense of reality if I remain in this state of agnostic? How can I? What's the point of it? Like, think about it. Every time you wake up, what's the point of you doing that? Why don't you just kill yourself? Like, I'm sorry if I'm being abrasive, but this is how the questions I had to ask myself was why, and no agnostic, no atheist was giving me this answer. So I turned to Christ, and Christ ultimately told me, look, believe in me, turn to me, and I will show you these things. Only you have a choice. Choose who to stay you will serve.
Fair enough.
But it's up to you. Nobody can force you to do anything, and Christ didn't force anybody to do anything.
I know.
So any questions you've got, you can ask them. Any philosophical questions you've got?
Oh, I've got a question. I hate losing, yeah. Like, whatever I do, I want to be better than anyone. Is it okay to feel? I want to be better than God. Is that a sin?
I mean, what do you consider to be better than God?
I mean, like better, like greater than God. I want to be a greater existence.
So what do you mean by greater than God? How do you think God functions?
I actually don't know. But you know, either way, I don't want to lose against him.
I mean, the problem is you've already lost by being a human being. If we're gonna go by I want to be greater than God, you're already a limited, finite, created soul. You've already lost. The game's up, dude. I mean, it's the sin that the devil was on was pride. So he believed that he could be higher than Most High, i.e. that he deserves to have control over the entire universe, and that he himself is fundamentally the source of all that is good. The problem is, if you were to measure yourself, you would know that you cannot be the source of all good. For example, I want to ask you a few questions. Have you ever lied?
Not really.
You've never lied?
I've been brutally honest at this one. So.
No, not in this conversation, ever in your life. Have you ever lied?
No, it's like quite a few times.
Yeah, so what you're telling me is you're a liar. Have you ever had sex outside of marriage?
No.
No, so you haven't done it. Have you ever masturbated?
Yeah.
So you've watched pornography, right?
Are you even supposed to say this?
Yeah, you're supposed to. It's a question I ask everybody. Right? So have you ever watched pornography? Just be honest. I have. Yeah. So what you're telling me is you're an adulterer and a liar. Have you ever thought of hating anybody in your entire life?
Not really.
You've never hated anybody? No. Have you ever cussed anybody?
Maybe. I don't know. It was a joke.
Have you ever said anything bad to your parents?
No. Not really.
You've never insulted them? Not even out of anger?
No, they don't piss me off. So.
Okay. So from what I've heard is that basically you're a fornicator, you're an adulterer and a liar.
Yeah.
Now, by God's standards, God does none of these things. He is wholly perfect. He's never masturbated, he's never watched porn, and he's never lied. So by his standards, he would already judge you and condemn you to hell. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think? How do you think he should treat you, knowing that you are this person?
I have no idea.
No, well, be honest with yourself. Like, we're talking about God, who is fully perfect. He's never done any of the stuff you've done. Never fornicated, never lied. How do you think he should treat you? Would he condemn you to heaven or hell?
I don't really mind.
I know you don't mind, but that's just a question of your own.
I don't know, probably hell then?
Hell, yeah. And that's what we're fundamentally saying. As Christians, you would be condemned to hell. But what we're saying is that Christ took on that punishment for you, so you do not have to take on that punishment. Christ, being the judge himself, is behind the judgment seat. But instead of condemning you for all the sins you've done, he said, look, I will take the fine and the punishment for you, and I'll replace you in that punishment. So you don't have to do that. All you have to do is accept and believe that I'm your Lord and Savior, and that's it. And I'll work inside of you. Because also we believe in a God that works through a spirit. And the spirit of God inside you will dwell you. Ultimately, these things, they may sound esoteric, but they are in existence. As I've just showed you, there are transcendentals. There are things that are in reality that are not based on what we see or what we taste or what we smell. You understand what I'm saying? And ultimately, like, without Christ, that's it. You will die in your sins. And you're telling me you don't mind it? That's fine. But I would say ultimately, think about what reality is. Don't just think that you know reality. Think about what reality is. and question it. Always question it, because I did. I used to be an agnostic. I changed my stance because a lot of things were not making sense, including why I trusted my senses so much. Why do you trust your senses? Ultimately, you're just going to be saying you don't know for the rest of your life, and I'm saying I do know. I have certainty, you don't.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but you can have certainty. I'm not special.
Yeah.
Sorry for the distraction. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But I want to give you something actually, because
Nice bag, by the way.
Thanks, man. It's very cheap, but it's not. It's not the best of bags. Oh, you got one? Oh, yeah, that's fine. I just want to give you this though, because sorry, I've got a lot of them. So this is evidence for God. So it's a sorry. Yeah, it's a bit scrumpled up, but yeah. It's evidence for God, and that's basically by Lee Strobel. Now, Lee Strobel was an atheist. He didn't believe there was a God, but he looked up the scientific evidence for believing. So that if you want to look at that, and also look up Lee Strobel, he's got a YouTube channel, and he's done a lot of lectures as well.
Have you got a YouTube channel?
Yeah, do you want to tell him your YouTube channel?
I'll tell you about that, yeah.
Alright, I got it. Good then.
Yeah, that's fine. So have a look at that, like read the actual Gospels there, and look, come to your conclusions, bro. Look, we're not saying that, we're not forcing anybody to do anything.
Yeah, that's
like Christ would never force anybody to do anything. But what we're saying is that we believe in a God that does love you. He does want you to come to him, and he's saying, look, if you do, the benefits are astounding. You can know more about the universe you're in and not be trapped in the ideology of, well, doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Thank you, man.
Well, take care. God bless you, Liam.
Thank you.